Hello there, my name is Andrew Hochradel, and I will be your host and guide today for an Illustrator typography challenge. If you want to follow along with me, you can go on any social media or right here on Behance, click on that follow button, or you can follow at hoch.co, that is HOCHDOTCO, just like in my name right there that just popped up. Wow, we're live. All right, let's hop into Adobe Illustrator and learn about brushed lettering today. So we're gonna be talking about brushed lettering, and our challenge is bring some elegance to your custom lettering by using the width tool to create a brushed effect. So if you don't have this file, if you're tuning in, if you're watching this after, if you're watching this on YouTube, down in the description, there's a link. Go click on that link. It will give you the source file that looks like this. There's not a lot here, but we'll be working together on this piece. So let's go ahead and jump in here to learn about brushed lettering. So the first thing that I'm going to do is we're going to use a tool called the brush tool. That's right. We're using the brush tool for brushed lettering. And right here, you can see that we have the brush tool. So I am real quick going to kind of default the settings on this brush tool. So don't pay attention to what I'm doing right now. Don't look, close your eyes. All right. So I have the brush tool here, and when I click and drag, it is going to paint with that brush tool. So we're just going to do type, but I want to do some kind of little swash. So I'm going to kind of do a little swashy here, one of these, and then maybe like type down here, right? So this doesn't look great. This looks very specific, right? And there's a lot of detail here, right? I don't necessarily want this detail. I'm going to set this to basic so that we can see it a little bit better. I don't necessarily want this much detail, right? You can see all these little jagged pieces. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to use the brush tool, but we're going to change the settings a little bit to help us cheat, right? For me, 36 days of type is a little daunting because I'm not really a hand lettering kind of guy, but the brush tool makes it super easy. So if you're just joining us for the first time, hello, we're celebrating 36 days of type, doing some type challenges here in Illustrator. So I'm going to go back to the brush tool right here, or hitting B, and then we are going to hit enter, the enter key. And check this out. This is where we were. This is the Paintbrush tool options. And what I want to do is there's this slider right here, right? And this is the cheating slider, right? I like to just call it the cheating slider because here it's going to be more accurate. If you're drawing, if you're using a mouse, it's going to follow every single tiny point that you create. Here, if we change it to smooth, it's going to cheat for us. It's going to smooth out all those little points, make it so that it looks like it is a little more relaxed, right? A little more refined, maybe. So if we want to, we can click on edit selected paths. We don't want to do that right now. I'll tell you what that does in a little bit, but we're just going to hit OK. Now, watch what happens. I'm actually going to paint over this using the brush tool. And you'll be able to see pretty quickly what it looks like. So I'm going to change this to basic up here. And watch this. Here we go. I'm going to click and drag just over this piece. And we'll see how different it looks. And then maybe we'll do one down here. I have to be quiet when I do this because I get so nervous. All right. So let's go ahead and see the difference between these two. So I believe this back one, actually, we can just use the eyedropper tool here. If you have a line, you can use the eyedropper tool and it will copy those settings. So I'm going to change this to red so we can see the difference. Boom. So look at how different that is, right? We have all these little jagged edges on the black one in the back, but this red one is very smooth, right? You can see it has much less anchor points. I'm not sure how to say that, but it has less anchor points, right? And it's more refined. If we look at this back piece, look at all those anchor points. It's really crazy. And if I turn on preview mode, which is just Control Y, you'll be able to see the real difference here, right? Very smooth on one and then very jagged and crazy on the other. So that's looking pretty good to me. And I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Actually, let's leave them. You know what? Let's leave them so that we can see. Oh, Andrew, what have we done here? Andrew, pull it together. All right, I'm going to change these colors back to red. There we go. So we have those two looking good here. Now, let's say that I really like the way that this T is working, right? Kind of looks like a Y a little bit, so maybe we'll augment it just a tiny bit. But what we can do is we're going to play around with this and kind of give it a little bit more oomph, right? And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. We're going to use the line width tool. We're going to use some calligraphy brushes, and then I'm going to show you how to make custom brushes. Now, there are a couple areas here that look like they're a little bit too anchor pointed, right? Especially down here, it's looking not as smooth as I want it to. So before we go in, it's going to be really imperative. That's a big word. It's going to be imperative for us to use the smooth tool. And I always lose the smooth tool. There we go. It's underneath this shaper tool. We're going to click on the smooth tool and watch what happens. If we select a path right here and we click on that smooth tool, we can just kind of click and drag on what we want to smooth out. And you can see there, it's starting to smooth out those curves for us. So anything that feels like it has a weird kind of wobbly spot, like right here, let's go ahead and just smooth that out a little bit, see if we can get it a little bit more relaxed. And the same thing down here, we're just clicking and dragging to where we want those to go. So there we go. We'll smooth around this curve right there. Ooh, yeah, that looks good. And then here, I want this to come down a little bit further and then swoop up, excuse me. So we're just gonna smooth that out, and maybe I want this to go up a little bit. We can keep smoothing that. There we go. And now it's perfectly smooth. Same thing down here. Maybe I want this to go a little bit more down and then swoop on up. Cool. So that's good. So you can use the smooth tool to start to smooth things out. Now, the problem with this is that it doesn't look as swashy as I want, right? And we're using a lot of different terms here that don't really exist. Swashy is a good one. So a swash is kind of a big stroke that you see maybe with a brushed letter. So we want to do that, is we want to make it look like we are using a brush. So we're going to come over here and use something called the width tool. Width tool, one of the easiest ways to make it look like you're really good at lettering without actually being really good at lettering. So with the width tool, we can see that it is actually just tracking along this path with that plus mark. And if we click on a point, we can click and drag out, and you'll see that it starts to expand, right? So you can see that expansion happening. We're going to click and drag this out, and when we let go, you can see that it is pulling out the width of that line to a specific area. So we might want to bring this one in, make it really small. So now it gets thick to thin, right? Looking pretty good. And I actually maybe want to go the opposite way. So I want this to be pretty thick. And then over here, I want this to be thin. And you can just hover over if there's already a point and click and drag in, and it will add that point for you. So let's say that we want a point only on one side. What we can do is we can actually hold Alt or Option and click and drag, and you'll see that it's only doing that one side. So if we want it to be thin on the bottom, we can do that right there. And that way it looks like it's kind of top heavy on that stroke. If we want it to be more top heavy, again, we can grab that width tool and we can find that point and just click and drag this. And you can see it's doing both. We just want to hold Alt or Option, and it's going to drag out just that one side. So now we have that really big, thick letter. My goodness. So I'm going to move this down just a little bit so we can hide it in there. And then let's use the width tool again to change the width of these pieces. So maybe this one we want to come out this way. There we go. Yeah, this is looking pretty okay. And then we want it to maybe be a little bit smaller. And I probably want it to come out on this edge. So I'm going to hold Alt or Option and grab just that bottom part right there. Let's get this a little bit bigger on that edge. Cool. So there we go. It's created this kind of T shape looking a little bit. And someone in our live chat is saying T as in trumpet. Yes, today is brought to you by the letter T as in trumpet. And with that, I do want to let you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, hi, thanks for watching. Make sure you check out those links in the description. But we have a live chat here every day. This is a live stream, and we have a live chat that is happening 11:30 a.m. Pacific time every single day at behance.net/live, every weekday. And so I want to shout out to some of the people in our live chat. Hello, Umacorn, Robert, our friend Wade is here, Biola. Nice to see you all. If you are watching the replay, hello, thanks for watching. Hello, nice to see you. That's me talking. Just insert your name there. All right, so let's hop back into our lesson, and we're going to continue here playing around with the different options that we could use. So we've got some nice brushed lettering going on here, but we want to add a little bit more zazz. What we can do is we can actually kind of cap these end caps by going to the stroke panel over here. And you'll see, there we go. We've got a little bit of that rounded edge, and that's looking pretty good. There are a bunch of other options that we can change here, but I don't really want to play with them. I really just wanted to round out that edge for now. So there's one option that we have rounded out that edge, and it is looking great. We're going to make another copy, just Control C and Control V, pasting that over there. What are you doing in there, little guy? And from here, we're going to actually apply a brush. So we can come in here and there are all kinds of brushes. So there are calligraphy brushes that we can click on here, and you'll see that it will start to augment these and apply them to our design. So we did kill all of the width that we had been working with, but we're looking here and starting to see a little bit, right? It doesn't look too different, but if we change to the flat, that's gonna get really different. So this is giving us that kind of embroidered look, luxury. And if we start to use the width tool here, oh, Andrew, pull it together. If we start to use the width tool here, oh, it's not gonna let us use it on a custom brush. That's all right. But we can augment this a little bit so that it lines up a little bit better. And there we go. We have some nice, this is very, I don't know, fancy. So this is great. And there's also a bunch of options for you to create brushes on your own or discover them on your own. You can simply click right here and then go down to Open Brush Library. So there's a ton of different options here, and we can do bristle brushes, we can do decorative brushes, image brushes. Let's do decorative and see what happens. So let's do Elegant Curl and Floral Brush Set. Well, that's all I've ever wanted. So you can see here that it opened up a new panel, and look at all these brushes. Right? A lot of people don't know that these are included in Adobe Creative Cloud, and there are so many cool brushes here. Look at this. I'm just scrolling, and there's a ton of brushes. So all we need to do is click on one of these. Let's say we want to use this one here. Ooh, I got a little bit crazy. It's looking a little wild there, but that's all right. So it looks pretty good. We can actually probably take the size of this down. Let's go to like a 0.5 and see what happens. There we go. And it's bending that stroke to our will, right? Looking pretty cool. If we want this to go the opposite way, we can actually reverse the direction of this brush. Oh, I said it and my brain's about to explode about how to do this. Why is my brain exploding about how to do this? Okay, I do know how to do this. I promise I will show you. Someone in our live chat can help me out on where reversing the direction of a stroke is. That would be so helpful because I had a brain fart and it doesn't exist in my brain right now. But you can look at all of these awesome brushes. And again, you can just come up here to your brush panel and you can change right here, Open Brush Library, and look at all of these different brushes. Okay, so I do believe, let's try it. I do believe that it's in brush options. Let's see what happens. So if I come here and I change brush options, yes, I can change the direction right there. And I think if I hit OK, it might, yes. So if we change something, we can apply to strokes and it is going to apply it to that. There we go. So now we have it going the opposite way. And that's looking a lot better in my opinion. That's looking pretty cool. I am 0% mad about how cool this T is. I probably want it to go up just a little bit, maybe 0.75. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So you can play around with these brushes on your own and figure out how to find some brushes that are included. Now, we're going to spend the last few minutes of this lesson creating our own brush. What we're going to do is we're just going to make a copy of this here. And we can do all kinds of things if we want to make our own brush. So we can make it from a shape, we can make it from a stroke, we can make it from really whatever we want. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at Adobe Stock. So we're going to go to stock.adobe.com/free. We're going to use that free. And we are going to type in brushstroke. All right, so from here, let's just grab any one of these. So this looks pretty good. I'm gonna hit license, and then it's gonna pop up and say that it's syncing to my Creative Cloud library right here. Now I don't want it in that library, so I'm gonna hit manage, and we're gonna make a new library. So we're just gonna call this brushes, and I'll hit okay. So it's saving that to the brushes. and we're going to come back into Illustrator, and we'll open our libraries right here above my head, right there. And I'm simply going to search the word brushes. There we go. And it's come up right here. Looks pretty good. So if I click and drag this in, it's actually just going to make it an image, and we don't want that. So I'm going to hold Alt or Option, and then I'm going to click and drag it in, and then click, holding Alt or Option the entire time. So Alt or Option, I click, and boom. Now we have these in here as individual shapes, looking pretty good. Why won't you let me scale it? That's fine. So we're going to pick one of these that we like, and I actually like this kind of brushed one right here. So I'm just going to double click and make a copy of that, and we'll delete the rest. And now I'm going to paste it here. So with this selected, what I want to do is I'm going to make a custom brush with this. Let's go ahead and go to Object. Sorry, let's go up here. I got a little confused. Let's go right here to our brush panel and click on plus. And we're going to do a new calligraphic brush. And that is going to allow us to kind of do that painterly brushed type look. We're going to hit OK here, and it's going to bring up all kinds of options. This is not what we want. Man, Andrew, pull it together. We're going to click on the plus, and we are going to go to Art Brush. That is the one that we want. So Art Brush right here is going to show us that we want it to stretch to fit the stroke length. We're going to do this brushed. I'm going to name it. The width we do want to be fixed. We don't want it random. And we want it to stretch to fit the stroke length. That means it's just going to stretch it out so that it fits the entire path that we put it on. Now we do want to make sure the direction's going the right way. So we want it going left to right. That's looking pretty good there. And let's go ahead and change this to tints. And that is going to make it so that we can change the color if we want to. So you also can flip along different axes if we want it to look differently. If we want it to do this way, we can flip it along that vertical. We don't want to do any of those. So I'm going to hit OK. And now you can see that it showed up in our brush panel right here. Looking good. So we can simply select this by, all right, so we can simply select our shape here and come back to that brush that we just made. And when we click, it is looking delicious. Delicious, my goodness. So this is exactly what we were talking about when we were talking about making a brushed, right? A brushed kind of letter. This is it. This is looking absolutely gorgeous. And what we can do is we can come in and maybe play around with some options, right? Let's make a little bit of difference here. Let's go ahead and let's scale this up to see what it looks like with a thicker brush. Looks pretty crazy. So let's go ahead and do a 1-point stroke on here. Now, what we can do is we can actually outline this so that we have it as a shape. So from here, if we don't want it to be a stroke anymore, we can go to Object, Expand Appearance, and now we have it as a shape, right? That looks pretty good. And I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to make them into one object. And I'm going to do that by selecting over on our Pathfinder, going to Window and Pathfinder, and just join them together. We're going to click Unite right there. And from here, maybe I want to put a gradient in there, right? I can grab the gradient tool, and we can maybe do, let's do a freeform gradient, see what happens here. Let's just do a radial gradient. All right, so we have, a radial gradient. It has applied it to all of these individual pieces, which is kind of cool. I'm not really mad about it. So let's see if we can just grab a gradient here and add some color. So let's do a nice, maybe green. Where's that green? I like this green in the defaults. And then maybe to a nice orange. Maybe a yellow. Ooh, yeah, make it lime. Do a little lime gradient here. We're gonna move that just a little bit so we have some motion coming in and change that gradient. There we go. So look at that. We've got these awesome little brushes looking like it has that kind of brushed letter look, looking absolutely gorgeous. It looks good. It looks good, y'all. Real good. So if we wanted to change the color on this stroke, we could also do that by just changing right here the color by clicking through. I don't know if it'll do a gradient, but we're about to find out. If I click here, it won't. Because it's a custom brush, it's just changing the tints. It won't be able to apply gradients there. But if you do outline it, you will be able to make it a gradient. Now, I have one more thing to show you. And this is advanced. So if you're watching this is a little bit advanced, but what I want to do is I am going to make 2 circles. All right. So we're going to do 2 circles here. Follow along with me. 2 circles. We're going to make one of them a red and one of them a blue. All right. So red and there's blue. So from here, what we're going to do, so I'm just going to make a copy of this, is I'm going to select both of these shapes and I'm going to go to Object, Blend, Make. So check that out. It is blended perfectly between these 2 colors. Now, what I want to do, this is going to be crazy. We're going to make a copy of this blend, Control C and Control V. And now we're going to select this shape in the back, right? We're going to select our path that we have back here. This is another way to make brushed lettering that's going to look really good. So we're making our path here and watch what happens. We are going to go to Object, Blend, and Replace Spine. Look at that. And it has put that blend all the way across onto this spine. Now, what I love to do with this one is use the brush tool and maybe create an L to overlap a little bit and watch what happens. So it overlaps. And when we grab our blend that we have here, Control C and Control V, I'll paste that. We're going to select both of these and then go to Object, Blend, Replace Spine. Look at that. We get this really cool effect where it's kind of pulling things together, right? It's really pulling a little bit of a different way. And if I want to change this spine, I believe I can come in here with the brush. Let's do that. That was on accident. Well, let's do it. Let's use the brush tool to go over this to create some nice texture. So I'm just going to draw over this L with the brush tool. And because I have my custom brush set, it's going to align that. And maybe we want to change this to like a green. Oops. And then change the blending mode to a multiply. Ooh. Soft light. Let's do a hard light there. Cool. So you can start layering those different effects, right? There's all kinds of different ways to do this. And I love that it kind of shows the over and under of those letters. It's very clean and very smooth. So again, I think I want to smooth out this right here. We can just smooth that out a little bit more and really make it so that it has a little more oomph to it. There we go. Just clicking and smoothing it out. If we wanted to have some variation, we could also come in here and just double click and click on the end point right here, and we can shrink this down if we want. So if we shrink it down, you'll see that it's going to augment that so that it shrinks down. If you wanted to do it so that it's a little more oval, it's going to augment that so that it becomes more oval, gets a little bit more zazz on the end there. So you can really play around with what you want to do on that replace spine. So we've created a whole bunch of different pieces. We have created using the brush tool. We have created using the width tool. We have done an end cap that is rounded, calligraphy tools. We use special brushes, and then we created our own brush. And then we use blends to replace that spine. This was like 9 lessons in one. Hopefully you're able to track along with me. What I want you to do is once you are done, go ahead and take a screenshot and post over in our Discord, bit.ly/AI Discord. Post in that Discord so that we can all see what we're working on and what we're creating together. And I also want you to post on social media. Hashtag 36 days of type. It's going on right now. So join the 36 days of type by posting your letter that you want to create. You can do an L. I believe that today is M. I believe that today's letter is M if you're watching this on the live stream. But thanks so much for joining me. If you're watching on YouTube, again, thanks for watching. We do have more resources down for you in the description. Click on those links and then join us for a live stream. If you have come over from YouTube onto behance.net/live, leave me a heart emoji in the chat and I'll know that you're here from our YouTube friends. So thanks for joining me, and hopefully you will join us for another lesson. As a plug to those watching the live stream, we will be doing a live community recap day. It's going to be so much fun in 2 days. So on Friday, March 18th, we'll be having a challenge recap. We'll be highlighting all of your work, giving some feedback to most asked questions, and maybe even hanging out in the Discord together. So come join us on that day, this Friday, set your reminder, and every day, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time here on behance.net/Adobe Live, and I'll see you later.